So what we have for today's shave is this very dense badger knot from Declaration Grooming. I like to soak my badgers. It's not necessary, but I've tried it both just kind of rinsing it really well before use, as well as soaking it, and I just kind of prefer soaking it. And so we'll start that off right away. Then we'll look at our equipment. This is a Wolfman WR1 head, solid bar, not the open comb, and it's a 0.67 millimeter head, and it's on top of a Italian barber radio knob handle, which I think is the right size, and it certainly feels good. I don't have a Wolfman handle. Inside that was the Nacet, and here's the stats. 41 uses already on the Nacet. So today's 42, and it hasn't really degraded in quality since use like 13, so who knows when this thing's going to die. Really intriguing scent in a really good way. Pomona from Southern Witchcrafts. I did contact them, and I take spiritual things kind of seriously, and they told me they weren't really into witchcraft or anything like that. That was just a kind of a little theme that they like to, do for their business and stuff, but it wasn't a serious spiritual endeavor. And so this is, there are a lot of scents that are very similar to a lot of other scents. And that's cool because they're similar that way because they're popular. But this guy right here, this is one that the description didn't really do it justice. I almost passed it over, but I ordered a sample because I had an order that like it was on sale or something, and I picked up some sale items, and so I said, let's tack on a sample. Why not? And I'm really glad I did, because this is like this a sweet apple fragrance. However, they've twisted it and darkened it up. They've sweetened it, intensified the sweetness, almost like an apple jam, but don't really think that way, because there's a little bit of floral, I think, coming in, and maybe some other types of fruits, and some like a red wine type scent, and that red wine comes in there with its bitterness. And it turns it different from just like an apple scent. And so it's a rich scent, fruity, rich, and yet it's got a little bit of darkness to it, like milk chocolate versus dark chocolate, just with that richness. And I really like the way it's coming off of the tub. And another thing, I talked to one of the guys here, and they said their scent strength was, they like pretty decent scent strength, and so I'm really happy with that. I've tried their Alchemist, really enjoyed the strength, so hopefully this is the same way. So looking forward to trying this one for the first time. I know they sold this, they had this on sale because they had a new soap base that they were going to start up on, and so I thought, hey, the old base is great, so I'm just going to go ahead and get some of that, and I'm really glad that it worked out. Pretty soft, very easy to hook out what I need in my 1/4 teaspoon measure. Easy to kind of spread out. It's not going to be difficult to integrate this into the lather. 1/4 teaspoon is usually a good amount. There are a few soaps that take less, and many soaps that need the full 1/4 teaspoon. All right, so there we go, just kind of spread out. Really excited to try this scent. I think Flowers in the Dark is a one where they've taken lavender and kind of darkened it with some other things. Night Music by Barrister and Mann. They've kind of darkened up some sweet things. And this is along that same line, and it's very interesting and very unique. So it was really cool. If it was just like an apple scent, and that's why I passed over in the beginning, I wouldn't worry about it. But there's other stuff in there that make it smell really cool. And now the brush is good. I'm gonna rinse my face off. This is a 2-day, got busy with work last night. Did not shave. So this is a 2-day beard growth. I use cold water, and it is hard water. So this is a hard water tolerant soap. Take it out, it's dripping. I'm gonna sling pretty much all the water out of it that I can. And here we go. I'm just gonna see what happens when I stir it up with this damp brush. Once you own it and shave with it on a regular basis, kind of make your own notes, figure out a good shortcut method. Some soaps you can just dump all the water in at first. Some soaps you need to add it a little bit more slowly, and then presto, we've got this really thick kind of paste going. And so soaps are just different. But this method that I use pretty much works with about any soap out there. And so, unless I have records that tell me what recipe you use, I go by this. Really quick to lather, you know, quick to come up. Oh, now something else is coming right there. That wasn't as much of the fruity sweet jam like. Maybe that's a little bit of the floral coming out. That's interesting. We'll just see what happens. Then once I agitate that for a little bit, I'll throw in another half teaspoon. And another one. Can't really tell what I'm getting. There's a kind of a dry smell. And I think the kind of apple-based and wine scents are kind of coming through more of in a drier method, a drier presentation. And that's 2 teaspoons added in. We'll probably do a finger test after this. Some soaps only need 2 teaspoons. So now notice the appearance, jaggedy, lots of different points and things like that. Many soaps, that means that you need to keep adding water. Let's just assume that this is one of those. Yeah, that scent has stabilized. How I described it before is it's keeping that. Now look at that. Look how it changed. just kind of one guy at the top from where I pulled it away. The flow is much less jaggedy. Those are things to look for. And whenever you find the concentration of soap and water that you prefer, you can memorize those attributes of what did the peaks look like, how did it feel on the ridges of my fingerprint when I squeezed it between my fingers. Bring it all down to the bottom of the bowl here and pull it up. Are the peaks long and flexy? Are they short and firm? These are still kind of short, but let's usually often the time short tips mean you need to go ahead and use it. I'm sorry, you need to add more water. Just take some. Oh, nice cushion. Can't really feel the ridges on my fingertips. And I'm going to go ahead and, since this looks a little drier than I want it, I'm going to add just a little bit more water. Wonderful looking lather as usual from these guys. Okay, let's pull it on down to the bottom, tilt it over, pull it out. Ah, look at that. Look at that elasticity. All right. So there we go. Big old glob, another pass in the bowl, no problem. Plenty of lather to do the job. Rinse my face off one last time before the shave. And here we go. This is the B5 knot from Declaration Grooming. Tips are just really soft. Splay isn't quite as easy as I might like, but hopefully that will change as I use it. But if you're a person who likes to kind of keep it on the brush tips instead of the splay, then this is probably your dream brush. I don't know how he gets these tips so soft. So, 2 days growth we're looking at here, so my face looks rougher than it usually does. See, if I have to, it's a lot of work to press hard enough to get it to splay and then keep it that way, and then it shoves my skin around. It's just not a, trying to get it to splay is not conducive to a peaceful experience. So, but it's maybe 8 uses in or something like that, maybe. So we'll give it a, definitely make sure we wait and give it a chance to change over time. Relax a little bit, open up more. All right. So what kind of scent? I definitely smell it. Hard to distinguish. Whatever floral is in there, that's kind of coming out right now, and it's dry. That is funky. It is not the same scent. You can tell it's a component of that sweet scent that I described from the tub. Here, let me go back to the dry tub right here. Oh yeah, see, now I get the tangy, sweet, jam-like fruity qualities that are predominantly apple based. Where from this, it's more the a drier, you know, thing like I was describing. All right, this is a 41 use blade, and it's probably going to not be super smooth taking down these 2 days of growth, and so I don't expect it to be smooth. However, it will cut it down nicely. You know, that may be where the difference comes in with using a newer blade. Because when I shave with just 1 day of growth, this blade has no problem, feels great, pretty smooth even on the first pass. But if I have 2 days of growth with this blade, this older blade, with many uses on it, then I don't think it's as good on that first pass. Now, actually it's doing great right now. On the second and third, it's always super smooth. Also, it could be me taking off too much hair at a time. There we go. Very nice. Gonna rinse it. A lot of times how my hands feel the soap and feel the slickness on my face after that first rinse tells me a lot about the soap. Here it wasn't very much slickness. I mean, there was a little slickness, not very much creaminess and residual slickness right now. But the second pass will tell us more. Got a declaration is switched to B6 knots, and so this B5 is now a part of history. And when a lot of his knots are more on the scrubby and high backbone side, but then when I read that the B5s were, I mean, they weren't floppy by any means at all. But they were the softest tips and the least backbone of most of his brushes. I made it a priority to try to snag one up. I think I dialed this lather in just right. So we'll see how it feels. Now here's the thing. Here I am. I've got it all over my face. What am I smelling? I'd say it's maybe a 3 out of 10. 2 out of 10, actually. That's really interesting. I expected it to be more. Not as much glide as some soaps. I don't really critique about the glide on the first pass unless it's amazing. because I have oily skin, and I think all I do is a water pre-shave routine, and so I'm not going to fault a soap for my own skin issues, and how that oil tends to get in the way of lathers adhering properly to my skin and all that. Kind of disappointed that the scent strength is this low during the shave. Smells so good from the tub. No irritation. Gonna rinse. One of the things I think are really cool about Southern Witchcrafts, you know, I've watched, you know, one of the guys that does it online, and he's just a good guy. You know, really helpful to people. Got a great sense of humor. Very interesting. Also, their price is really pretty low. I think it's $12 for a tub, and that's regular price. And I think that's just terrific for 4 ounces of soap. Let me make sure that's 4 ounces. I'm almost certain it is. Yeah. And so that's a great price for a good performing soap. And then when you add the intriguing scents that they have that are just not like anybody else's, I think it's a great buy, great value. And then they're improving their base, I guess. And I can see why, because just now when now I still have a little bit of residual slickness here, but it wasn't super creamy and luxury feeling like a lot of other soaps are. And so maybe that's something that they discovered, hey, let's see if we can improve on that. So we'll see what their next version, their next base feels like. All right, let's go ahead and go with pass number 3. It's appearing like I got pretty much the exact right amount of lather built up here. This is not a grip I usually use when putting on a lather. I usually do this. I'm just going to try this out. I did it on the last pass. Let's see. My wrist is not doing as much of the work as my kind of arm is. Kind of see what happens. See how natural it feels. All right, now we switch to the painting strokes. It's also possible that I could get a little bit, you know, more glide by maybe adding just a touch more water, but kind of feel like I've got it dialed in just right. Now, one of the things I'm trying, instead of putting my brush back in the bowl and it flops over and kind of lays down and gets the handle all soapy, I could put this standing up on the sink, and that's what I've done for a while. Then you've got to kind of reach. I'm tall, and so the sink's really low, and so then I've got to try to reach down and grab it without getting my fingers messed up. So I just went and bought a little soap dish, a little round soap dish from the Dollar Tree. And I've just been laying it like that on my sink, and then I put that away with my shaving stuff, trying it out, see if I want to do that. All right. Feels great on my face. Still got no irritation from either of the first 2 passes. Very smooth 3rd pass, but I mean most soaps will give you that. Very nice glide. Yeah, take a look at that lather on the razor. Just, it's gorgeous and it's working really well. This may not be since straight edge users, straight razor users often will want a lather that is thinner than many double-edged users. They may not like this particular mix. Just add a little bit more water. Light touch. Taking my time. Just press it in enough to let the blade touch the skin. That's it. All right, feels great. No irritation, no bleeders or weepers. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my neck only fourth pass. I've got plenty of lather to do it with. Looks like 1/4 teaspoon is about right for this particular soap base. And then we'll have this much left over as extra margin, which I am cool with. I mean, yeah, 3 out of 10 in terms of scent strength is kind of what I'm feeling. It's if it were just a little bit more, I would say this is a definite keeper. It's so interesting from the tub, and it just switches on you. A lot of soaps do. This one happened to switch in a direction that I didn't like quite as much. I was hoping to still experience that rich apple and red wine, a little bit of darkness all together while I'm shaving it. I'm not really getting that. It's more the essence and the tartness, not tart, but just a lightness of those fragrances. And so it's nice. If I had to use this for a long time, I'd enjoy it. But considering the awesomeness that comes from the tub, I was really hoping that it would be stronger. Being really careful right around this area is my trouble spot. Lately, my Adam's apple has been giving me some grief. This area here, this whole swath of my neck, the hair goes sideways. So I'm basically doing a bunch of cross grain passes on my neck area. Very nice, very comfy. After everything, we'll be able to see how close it's shaved. I'll rinse now. As I'm smelling the bowl now, something jumping out at me. Cinnamon, which makes total sense since it's an apple-based fragrance. But I'm not a fan of cinnamon. I'm glad it's not coming out until now. And that might have been that dryness that I was mentioning before. It was there, but the apple was there enough to help it not to be offensive to me. Like if my wife stirs her coffee with a cinnamon spoon and then stirs mine with the same spoon, I'll pick it up and I just won't like it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some cinnamon in this mix or some type of spice like that that's similar. All right. So that might be cause for concern for any reactions. There's some people that can't handle different things like cinnamon. Looks good, feels good. there are a few that didn't get cut very well that I can see some pretty good length on, which is atypical. But it's probably my technique, to be honest with you. Probably didn't focus on the right area. But right here, it's shaved really well, and that's often a spot that is problematic. And so I think the blade's good. It's just my technique maybe wasn't complete tonight. All right, so how much water did we use? Almost 3 teaspoons. I don't think it'd been a problem to go the full 3. And you saw how much lather's left over. This probably a pass if you gathered it all up, and then a little bit extra in the brush. Very nice. That's kind of the way I like it. And 42 on the Nacet now. Very, very cool. And it's just not degrading. It's not pulling. And every once in a while, I'll do a bad job of shaving and it'll give a bad result, but I don't attribute it to the blade. And blade bounces right back and gives me a great shave like 1 or 2 days later. So it's a good way to work on your technique. All right, let's throw on some post-shave stuff. All right, we've got a little nuance of apple on my face. Let's see how that works with some sandalwood balm. This is one of those that I bought before I found a lot of the online forums and subreddits and things. This was Amazon, back when Amazon was my one place to get information by reading those reviews. And it's okay, but it's often not very good. But I really enjoy, to me, this is a very authentic sandalwood scent, and I like it. And it's a little goes a long way with this, but I usually apply it when I've got a moist face, and that really helps it to spread it out properly. If this is concentrated too much on my face, I think it agitates me a little bit, and I think that's a problem some people have with sandalwood. They have to be careful with that. That oil can agitate people's skin, which is why sometimes a sandalwood scent will be very weak because they're trying to protect people. But this has a nice scent to it. I think it works really well with what I just used. So very cool. I want to clean up. So it looks like my favorite part of the scent didn't really transfer into the lather. It's just the way it goes sometimes. So that's a little bit of a letdown, but performance was very nice, especially for the price. This just isn't up there with the the $18 soaps in terms of price, and so you can't expect it to necessarily have the same ingredients that make those other ones perform so well. But this was a very good soap, and so they're going to make it even better, I guess, with their new formula. But I'm glad I have a few of this base as well, because it's just good stuff too. So the Pomona, I might just move it along to somebody else, just because it loses my favorite things by the time it gets to the lather, and it's a little bit on the weak side. And I think, especially with the introduction of the cinnamon later on, or at least my perception of it, I'll look at the write-up when I get back to my computer. So there we go. Brush did well. Razor did great. Blade is still going strong. 42 uses now in the books. So there we go. I hope there was something here for you that helped you out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care and good night.